Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's house. Today we're doing 1978, the year in review. And what a year it was. There was so much great entertainment that year. There was punk rock going on at this time. It was in its heyday, and disco was on the downfall, the downslide, as they say. And there's all this pop music. You had classic rock, some of the best albums ever recorded, 1978. Well, this may not be the best album ever recorded, but especially if you ask Gina, that I just found out.
Which one?
This one right here.
That guy.
Okay. So, yeah, there was a lot of music going on, but like we always do, we're going to spotlight the lighter side, the pop side. We're going to spotlight the one-hit wonders of 1978. So one of my favorite one-hit wonders of 1978 was Nick Gilda, Hot Child in the City.
Yay!
You see this guy? He looks like his legs are 6 feet tall and his body's like 1 foot tall.
You're gonna supermodel.
later on when you get your albums, we're gonna look at this.
Twiggy.
But it was so much stuff going on. It was the year that rock met disco, that you had all these rock bands doing kind of disco type songs. And it was great TV shows that debuted that year. We're going to talk about all these TV shows, some of your favorites, Bello. Great movies, too. And, of course, one of the most monumental events in television history occurred in 1978. But you have to stay tuned to see what that was. You're going to be very excited. And, of course, Cha-Cha, it was the year of Grease. The greatest year of your life.
It really was.
Because it was Saturday Night Fever in 77, followed up by Grease in 78. Oh, my God.
Life was wonderful.
Yes.
Life was one. John Travolta was everything.
Double Jeopardy. And it was the year of the Sgt. Pepper remake. And it was the year of Mork and Mindy on TV.
Oh,
so much stuff going on. I'm exhausted just thinking about it. But
Mork and Mindy.
there was also a dark side in 1978 that I want to talk about a little bit. Back in 1978, people of varied backgrounds didn't get along as well as they do now. Now everybody gets along, right? It's
Right.
peace and harmony and sunshine and kittens, right? Everywhere you go, no problems in the world. But
most part.
Right, we've come a long way.
actually, we haven't.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of problems going on today, but there was even worse problems going on in 1978. So I want to go back, give you some of my background here. Now, I was born a poor black child in Queens, New York, and I went to PS 181, and it was basically an all-black school. That it was
65%?
65. That was, no way. It was like 80 to 90% black. And there was actually 6 kids. I remember it well because it was the same 6 white kids every single year. And I still remember their names. There was 3 boys and 3 girls.
Wow.
I guess they did that on purpose to match us up, So I remember it was Donna, Barbara, and Rebecca. And then the boys was me, Neil Weinstein, and my best friend, Paul McCasty.
Wow.
And Paul McCarthy ended up being murdered much later on. That's a whole nother
In
story.
school?
And-
No.
Whoa.
Yeah,
But it does
pretty
all
much.
tie in, really.
Yeah. So, but back then you're a little kid. Everybody gets along. I love them. They love me. We had so much fun playing punch ball. And I was, a prankster. And they were always saying, Dennis, you play too much. Because I would be doing crazy things in school, And you don't know. You don't even really know to hate people when you're a little kid.
No, you don't.
But then, I lived on the border of Rosedale and Laurelton. So I have to fast forward a little bit to 1974. Now, 1974 was, all right, let me tell you about Rosedale. Rosedale was this all-white working class neighborhood with cops, firemen, and all of this stuff.
Construction workers,
Right. And it was around, I lived on the
collar.
other side of the
Right.
park, right? In Laurelton, which was, like I said, at that point, 70% black, the town. But Rosedale was 100% white, right? So, and they saw all the other towns that in the middle of the night, once the first black family moved in, everybody would move out, and then there'd be a high crime area and blah, blah, blah. So the first black family moved into Rosedale in 1974. And guess what happened? Their house was firebombed.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I actually showed Cha-Cha last night, the documentary
Right,
that Bill
it's a
Moyers
documentary.
made a
Wow.
documentary about
made
this.
it, yeah.
Because I remember it so well. The family was the Spencers.
Damn.
Right.
And it was a very nice family, of course. But, it just turned into such trouble that there was riots going on and people marching and protesting.
Yeah.
I grew
And
up with
then-
that in Bensonhurst.
Right,
Same
exactly.
thing.
That
Same
you
thing.
think
Right.
New York City was so diverse and
Yeah.
integrated, but it's not. It's all little pockets
Yeah.
and all little towns, and it was not integrated at all, really.
Right.
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 And then they even formed an association in Rosedale that if anyone sold their house, you'd have to sell it to the association, so they'd make sure that it only went to
Called
white
Roar.
people.
Wow.
Right.
Holy.
And if you sold your
Wow.
house to black people, they would follow you to your new house and they'd protest in
Yeah.
front of your
And
house.
that tells
Tell
you-
all
See,
your
that's so
neighbors.
funny because the same thing happened in Bensonhurst. I
Yeah.
totally remember
This-
that growing
that's-
up.
it was
and the
so-
race riots were crazy in my high
Exactly.
school.
Yeah, it was
Seven-
turbulent time. That it wasn't, as fun as it looks on TV.
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
all
Right,
this
when you're in
busing and all of this stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember that
So,
busing. That's how.
Yeah. So anyway, this brings me to my point now. 1978, I'm 13, and I no longer in elementary school. I go to the junior high school. Right? And it's the worst because now it comes from schools all over collecting to this one thing.
Right.
And like I said, I'm used to this because I went to an all black school, so it doesn't matter to
Don't
me.
matter.
Right? But all the white kids came from all white
Right,
schools.
right.
Now they are like 20% out of the whole thing, and they don't know how to react to this. They're losing their minds, and they're being bullied. Even it happened to me. Like I told this story once before that I had a knife pulled on me
Yeah.
in the
Wow.
basement. What I was doing in the basement, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. But anyway, so this is what the white people in Rosedale do. They all get together and they decide they're going to build their own elementary and their own junior high school now that in Rosedale. So they managed to do this. They built their own junior high school. It was called, because the school was Junior High School 231. So they built the annex, it was called, and it was in one of the existing elementary schools. They, on the top floor, they took it over and they decided to put that there. And you had the
Wow.
choice of going to either one, and then of course all the white kids go there. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to be the absolute only white kid in this whole school
Wow, you had
if
no
I don't go
choice.
to that
Yeah.
school.
Right.
So I said, all right, I might as well go. So I went, and they are sorry to this day that I actually went there because I wreaked a lot of havoc. But I still hold the school record for the first one being caught cutting school.
Nice.
In the whole school, because this was a brand new school.
Wow.
So like
Wow.
first,
So
yes, I
proud.
believe there's a
Parents
plaque
were-
to this day.
Yeah.
You little bandit.
Because, I was so used to the junior high school 231 in the ghetto there, you
Yeah,
could do whatever you
yeah.
want.
You
So
do
I
whatever
would
you want.
cut and come and go as I please.
They
But
weren't
this,
looking for you.
as soon as I was gone, 5 minutes later, there's a SWAT team tracking me down, And it kind of reminds me of like how our kids could possibly cut school
They
now.
can't,
Yeah.
right.
Because if you're
Kids
out,
can't.
they send a text home, they call you,
Right.
they send a letter, an
Oh, yeah.
email. So kids can't cut it all.
Yeah.
What do they do?
They go to school.
They
I
go
think
to
they
school.
like it. I think they want. My son doesn't even want to stay home. You don't want to stay home today, pal? No, not really.
Yes.
Dad.
So
What?
that was, so if you have a chance, go watch this documentary.
it was-
It's called
wow.
Bill Moyer's This Is It, Rosedale, Queens, New York. And it was
Wow.
from
The way it
1974,
was,
the way it is. Yeah, something like
Wow.
that.
Wow.
And it's very interesting,
Very,
And
yeah.
so that was my time in New York in 1978. And of course, I was also, I don't know, maybe I'll have to cut this out, but I was the first one allegedly caught with pot in the school as well.
Ooh.
That I was ratted out. That I'm not saying whether this is true or not,
Yeah.
but if it was true, that I showed somebody and someone else saw it and they told the teacher on me. But
on.
as they were closing in on me, someone else told me, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so knows you got weed." So I stashed it and they called me into the office. I remember it was Mr. Wolfson. The guy had a terrible hairpiece and he was in there
They
with
all
his
do.
goons and they were threatening to
Wolfson's
strip
goons.
search me. They were threatening to
Oh,
trade me
no.
back to the ghetto.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, look, I don't have any pots.
Yes,
I don't know what
yes.
you're talking about.
Right.
So I am shocked and outraged that you would accuse
Yeah, how
a man
dare
of
you.
my stature.
Right.
And I
And
pretended.
today you would have had a lawsuit.
Yeah,
You unbelievable.
exactly,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
Good old days.
that's it. Queens, New York, 1978. The good
Yeah.
old days. So now it's time for a long distance dedication. We're going to play some songs, and it's actually going to go out to Mr. Moore. He was my humanities teacher in the annex, and he was this flamboyant guy, and he was hysterical. And I still use one of his jokes to this day. You've heard me say it before, where he'll be like, well, someone's talking, and his initials are Dennis Morgillo.
Awesome. Yes.
I just thought that was the
Mr.
funniest
Moore.
thing ever.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Right off the
Yeah,
action.
so this
He's
goes
like
out to Mr. Moore, wherever he may be. We're going to play Hot Child in the City by Nick Gilda, and then we're going to play Sometimes When We Touch by Dan Hill.
I heard
and
he was
they're-
in the corner chanting your name still.
And here they are. They're both on my 45. If you can see this from home, I have all my vinyl out today. I have a Nick Gilda album, and I have two 45s from 1978, too.
I think they were mine.
Cha-Cha had no albums.
That's not
All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And we're going to talk about 1978, and we're going to find out what was going on Brooklyn, Staten Island, and Long Island in 1978. We'll be right back, live from Dennis's house. Hey, welcome back, live from Dennis's house, 474 The Mix, 1978, the year in review. And that was Hot Child in the City by Nick Gilda, who many thought was a girl, but including Steven. And for some reason, while we're at it here, we're going to have a full explanation why Gina does not like that song. I would think for sure that Gina loved that song.
I don't know. It just never grew on
Hot
me.
Child in the City. You like it now?
I guess it's just syncopated. It was cool.
I don't know. And actually, well, we'll get to that whole thing later. But the next song was, what else did I play? Oh, Sometimes When We Touch by Dan Hill.
Oh, that's a pretty song.
Yeah. So Steven used to practice in the hairbrush singing that to his 13-year-old girlfriend.
Yes.
And I have to close my eyes.
All right. So now let's get into what was happening in 1978. I'll give you some of the TV debuts. All right. Do you want to? Let's do that. Yeah. Let's
do
talk about
TV.
TV first. All right. The debuts. It was a lot of real life kind of situations on TV. You know, things that always happened and everyone can relate to. And one of the shows debuted in '78 was Diff'rent Strokes, which happened most times. I knew 3 or 4 friends of mine were adopted by millionaire white guys. Well, moved up to the Upper East Side. Yeah, so
Along came too. They had nothing but their jeans. What? What does that even mean? That's in the song. They had nothing but the jeans. So they're standing there in dungarees and no shirts.
Yeah, what was
And
this?
then Mr. Drummond. How dare you?
Do we
Mr.
know the
Drummond.
backstory? Was it like the maid worked for Mr. Drummond and she died and he took the kids in? Was that what happened?
Oh, I never thought about that.
I'm not sure. Oh, was
I'm
that
not
good
sure
times?
either.
I'm not sure. All right, but something like that happened.
Kids, yeah.
But of course, it was Gary Coleman and
Conrad Bain.
Conrad Bain.
Yes.
I don't know,
He's
and
the millionaire.
And the Facts of Life woman was a maid on that
Oh,
show.
yes.
She
Started
was.
off
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Garrett.
Mrs. Garrett.
Garrett.
Right. And
Jody.
what was
Yes.
Willis's real name? He got
Todd-
into real
Todd
Todd
Bridges.
Bridges.
Yeah.
Right,
Todd
right.
Bridges.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
of course, what was the catchphrase when he would say to Willis, Gary Coleman?
What you talking about?
What you talking
Exactly.
about?
Yes. That was great. Still used to this day. And of course, a lot of troubled kids on that show.
Yeah.
That Dana
Oh,
Plato
Dana,
was the
yeah.
sister, and
Yeah.
she ended up a lot of trouble. Ended up dying way too young. Very
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Sure.
Her
So-
and Todd.
And he's doing all right now, though. Todd, I hear.
Todd is
So,
good.
Yeah.
Poor Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman, he died.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Dana Plato. They're all dead. Everybody on that show is dead
No,
now.
not everybody.
I believe everybody. Not
Todd
Todd
Bridges.
Bridges.
Todd Bridges.
Right.
Yeah,
Audience,
the only one I
the-
Yes, even most of the people who watched it in the audience, the
yes.
studio audience, is all dead as
Gone.
well. So, if you see that TV show come on, turn the channel.
Oh, yes,
It's
please.
hazardous to your
No.
health.
No, not
yes,
good.
and another real life show, White Shadow.
Oh,
I never
yeah,
watched
yeah.
that.
White Shadow.
Oh,
Ken Howard.
Right.
Yes,
That-
basketball.
He was
So
the coach,
Yeah.
right?
he was
Tall
the
blonde
coach.
dude.
He was the white coach. Goes back to the all black school,
black
and
neighborhood,
he gets
yeah.
involved in all their lives on
Yeah.
a daily
Makes it
basis.
better, and it's
Yeah.
a beautiful life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, all in one. Yeah, it's great.
All in one episode.
Oh, and Gina,
Never.
the show, 1978. David Cassidy, Man Undercover, debuted in
Yes!
1978.
And I remember fervently waiting for that show to start.
Did your mom make you go shopping and miss it?
No, by the time I was 16
She
in
was old enough now to put
1978,
her
so
foot
it was kind
down,
of on my own.
16 on your own. That's how it was back then.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So
But I love my David then.
Yep, absolutely great show. WKRP in Cincinnati
That
debut.
Great show.
Dr. Johnny Fever,
show.
and of course Thanksgiving is coming up, and of course they had one of the best Thanksgiving shows ever.
Really?
When Les Nessman had this promotion where he was going to throw turkeys out of the
Yes!
helicopter,
Yes! Oh, my God, Dennis.
and he didn't know they couldn't fly.
Oh, my God.
He was killing the bird.
Oh, my God, I
Yes.
got to check
Yeah.
out that episode.
Les
I totally
Nessman.
remember that.
I forgot
was
about
a-
it. What a great show.
Turkey Holocaust
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving. Yes.
Oh, that was great.
Oh my God, that was a
So,
great show.
Yeah, and then you had shows like Fantasy Island with Tattoo,
Yes.
Hervey
Not
Village
funny.
has.
Yeah, Plane.
The Plane,
Yeah.
yes. And Hulk with
Oh.
Bill
Oh,
Bixby,
yeah,
the
right.
original one. And
Yeah.
of course,
Now, Lou Ferrigno's from my neighborhood.
oh, really?
He
Oh,
just
wow.
turned. He had a birthday the other day. I
Oh,
think
really?
He turned 65, 66.
Wow.
Still
Yeah,
looks
but
good. Yeah, he still looks good.
He, I mean, the Incredible Hulk. I mean, gorgeous. I mean, body. He had a gym right by my house.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That when that show was out and popular, I mean, everybody in the neighborhood was obviously working out of that gym. Except for Lou.
Get the
Yeah.
Hulk
Yeah.
body.
The Hulk
yes.
body. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
He's a
also
Bensonhurst boy.
the
Wow.
debuted that year, Taxi. That was one of my favorite
that
shows.
was one-
Yes,
me
what a
too.
cast
Tony
of characters.
Danza.
Yeah.
I
And wasn't he
knew
from
that.
that neighborhood too? I think Tony Danza.
Was
Wasn't he
he?
from Brooklyn too? I
You know
believe.
what? I don't know.
I think originally, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that show. There was so many great scenes in that, of course.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Louis to put
Oh,
on the
Louis.
list. I mean, he was
yeah.
the best. He was
Judd Hirsch. They were all great.
Yeah, that was
when
great.
Jim Ignatowski actually he was in college and he was like and then he
Yes.
ate the brownie.
Now,
and
the
that's when
other
he- all of a sudden
good-looking
he just
dude
turned
with
into,
hair, who's that? Jeff Conway. Remember him? He
Oh,
passed away, which I
there
couldn't
was-
believe.
You know that there's
Came,
just a
yeah.
big scandal. Have you heard about this? Yeah.
No.
That there's so much going on. Jeff Conway, he got injured on the set of
Grease,
Grease, and
yes.
after that he had to take
Right.
painkillers, and he
Wow.
ended
It
up
was the same.
Addicted.
ended up dying because
And
of
then-
that. But just in the news today, someone declared that John Travolta sexually harassed him on the set of Grease.
Wow.
sexually harassed.
Jeff Conway.
Jeff Conway.
Oh, I believe
Yeah.
it.
Sheesh.
He had nice hair.
Yeah.
And nice hair. He had
Yeah.
Davy Cassidy hair.
Yeah. All
Hello?
right. Who had the best hair in '78 then, Gina? Was it him?
David.
Was it David? Yeah,
David.
you can never. The entire
David!
'70s was David. No question. So,
That's like me picking another
Yeah.
host that I like better than you.
Mm.
You can't do it. It's like, what do you want Gina to say? Oh, you're right.
I'm just curious.
Told you that's the man I'd go straight for.
There you go.
Travolta. I can't believe it.
Yeah. So then, of course,
maybe
Mark
not
and
now.
Mindy.
Oh,
Now,
yes.
Yeah.
Remember Mark and Mindy? Great Robin Williams is
Sure.
gone
Yes.
now too. What
Oh, man.
Yes.
that was so amazing when he first came, hit the
That was-
scene.
Yes.
What was
You
that?
know?
Nano.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wasn't that the sign they did?
yeah. Saturday Night Live was the last
Wow.
season. This was the last season that Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi were
Wow.
on. That they debuted the Blues Brothers that
wow.
season.
Oh, wow. That was
And-
78?
Right, and they left because they were going to film the movie,
Right.
and they were too
Okay.
big stars for it.
Yes.
So
Wow.
and
What a
another
great
one of
year.
my
It
favorite
was.
characters of all time from Saturday Night Live debuted in 1978 as well. It was Chico Escuela. Remember
Oh,
that?
yes.
Baseball been very,
Yes.
very
Very
good
good.
to
Yes.
me.
Oh.
Yes.
Garrett Morris.
Garrett
Yeah,
Morris.
that's
Garrett
right.
Morris.
Yes.
Wow. Very good. Dennis.
Yes, it was amazing stuff going on TV. So, what do you want to talk about movies now? You guys got anything else you want to talk about? The neighborhood? You want to talk about got any stories?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
I
Tell
do.
us.
Go, Bello, go.
So 1978 was the year that it was a very rough time in my life, I got to say. I used to be in those smart classes, like in 6th grade and 7th. Something happened where they just threw me out. They used to always say that you're a good kid, but you're disciplined, So finally they had enough. And now, so I went from like an SP class, I don't remember what that stood for, to the worst class in school, right?
Oh my
and
God.
and I guess I was rebelling, but I've told you these stories about But this, so at one point there was smoke bombs were going off in the school like crazy, right? It was going on. It was so bad to the point where they were the fire department would be called. It was nuts. It was going on for months. And the dean of students became my friend, thinking he put me on the smoke bomb squad. In other words, so
Thinking
we,
you let him know.
that since I
Yeah.
know the bad kids, that maybe I, and so it's still going on. I had to give them reports every week, and there would be notes left behind, typed notes, compliments of the smoke bomb kids. So almost like Spider-Man would leave, and so it was going on for months and months, and. One day I come in and he says, "Bello, you're off the committee," and my heart is broken. I'm like, I thought we had a bond here. So and then I go into gym and he has those the cutters. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the bolt cutters for the lockers. Yeah.
And he's standing in front of my locker, and I'm like, oh God. He cuts open the locker. My locker is filled with the smoke bombs. I was a smoke bomb kid. So he's pulling out the bags, bags of smoke bombs, like 50 letters that I had printed up ready to go. And that's when I had to start eating lunch with the guy. Remember I told you that
Yes.
story? I used to have to eat lunch with him every day.
What
So
high
that
school was that?
No, this was 8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade. Okay.
The year before
Elementary.
high school.
Tell that story about what happened when
that's,
you were
right.
in his
So
class.
that's when I used to start. Now I had to eat lunch with this guy every morning. All the kids would eat lunch, and he'd be on the microphone saying, "You know why Bello's here? Because he thinks he's the cream of the crop, and actually he's the cream of the crop." And everyone would laugh. So I'm sitting
my
there
God.
one day. Gee, this is true. And now he's drinking his coffee, and he's got an apple on the table, and so now he starts screaming. I'm like, so I spit in his coffee, I mix it up, and I take the apple, I lick the whole apple, right, and I put it down, and then he gets back on the mic, and he's making fun of me, and he's drinking his coffee, and the kid comes over and says, "Mr. Lighty, Bello spit your coffee." and right, so you think I'll ever fall for that again?
Oh
so
my God,
while
that's
he's saying this,
great.
now he's biting the apple, and then another kid comes over. He also licked your apple, so he takes me. He throws me out in the hall. These are the days when the teachers could beat you up.
Oh, yeah, heck
great.
yeah.
Ready to beat
The
me up.
nuns
And-
destroyed
and our
me.
friend Daniels, comes
yeah.
walking around the corner. He was in 8th grade, but he was probably about 15 at the time. And I'll never forget. He had a rolled up pack of cigarettes, and he goes over. What are you doing? Leave the kid alone. And the guy is going,
The teacher
"Daniels,
was afraid of him.
calm down, Daniels. This could be the year you graduate. Don't you want to?" And so that was, those were my days. But that's where
that was a rough
Jim
year.
Powerful Daniels
For everybody else.
saved my
was a
life
rough
that day.
year.
That's a true story.
That was hysterical. Do they still do that too? Do they still group all the kids together based on intelligence or whatever they
I don't know
determine?
if that's even allowed anymore.
I wouldn't think
You
that.
know?
So.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
Yeah.
of course they do. What do you
Well, I
mean?
know they have honors, but then is every
Right.
class and then they put the worst
Like
kids
the
in the
sweat
basement,
hogs.
like the sweat hogs.
Yes.
You
I
know,
don't
it's
think
just
so.
like,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
You mean like Bosie's kids?
I don't know what that means.
Those were the kids that went to they didn't go to regular high school.
They didn't go to regular high school.
They went to what was that? Like workshop and
Wood shop and
yeah,
things.
wood-
Yeah.
Like
right.
vocational type school
Right,
Yes,
or
right. It
something.
was
that's the
called
word.
Bosie.
Bosie.
Oh, I know. We almost forgot. The most monumental TV moment of all time, 1978, happened in January 1978. The What's Happening Doobie Brothers episode.
Oh, yes. Classic.
The Doobie
worst.
Brothers.
With the tape
The
recorder.
worst.
Yes,
Classic.
Doobie Brothers,
Pants.
come on. Yeah, we spoke about this earlier, but it's worthy of a whole nother discussion
Yes.
here that they
Yes.
come on. How they imagined on this show, the writers said, we
get
have
the
a
Doobie
ghetto
Brothers.
school.
Right.
What would be
Yes.
their favorite band?
Right.
Oh, the
Here we
Doobie
go.
Brothers, of
Yes.
course.
Right.
You know, not Parliament Funkadelic, not the Temptations,
Right,
not
right.
any of these
Yes.
bands that they actually listen to at the school. They said, let's get the Doobie Brothers. So the Doobie Brothers come on. And they performed some concert at the high school.
Right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Rerun is sent in by the gangster to bootleg it. He had his pants up to here.
Yes.
He wears it kind of like this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he got a tape
Suspenders,
recorder in
yeah.
there, and he's dancing in the front row to Blackwater or something. And the tape recorder falls out.
Yeah.
And everybody stops in the whole auditorium. And Rerun is in big trouble. And later on, the Doobie Brothers catch the gangster
Right.
at
The
the
bootlegger.
diner, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
They
so
do a sting.
They had
All
the
10
front door, back
Yep.
door. Yeah.
all 10 Doobie Brothers
Oh,
take time out of their
yes.
tour.
Yes.
You love that
play it.
episode.
I
You've
love that
you've mentioned
episode.
it more
I
than
know, but
once.
I love it because
I
it's
know,
so
it
ridiculous.
was.
Yeah, it made
That
no
is-
sense at
Mentioning
all.
it again.
Yes, it's so terrible that it actually
so
may
good.
be
the white
best
Jewish
episode ever.
writers.
Yeah,
figured
right.
that
The 65-year-old
Yes,
Jewish
yes.
writers who are saying,
Yes.
oh,
Here we go.
what? It's the truth.
You can't
Yes.
say that.
Can't say Jewish.
No.
In 1978,
All right.
you could.
Yeah. So.
Oi.
Anyway, all right. So, should we play some more music and then come back and talk to Cha-Cha and Gina about what was going on? Because we need to hear all about Grease.
Yes.
So, all right. So, yeah, let's take a little break, play some more songs. How about now we play Magnet and Steel by Walter Egan.
Good one.
And then how about this
Really
one?
good one.
My Angel Baby by Toby Bow.
I was hoping you were
Yeah,
going to
there we go.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
That was good though, Chachi.
Two one-hit wonders of 1978. So we'll take a break live from Dennis's house, 474 The Mix, part of the Madhouse Magazine Radio Hour, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house. That was Magnet and Steel by Walter Egan. How's that song go? Remember that?
On the magnet.
Good, Bello.
I love it. I always thought it was the Eagles, like one of the Eagles or something. Which one?
That's it. That's
Yes,
it.
there.
Yeah. And then, of course, My Angel
Now
Baby
I told
by
you.
Toby Bow.
Yeah.
Two classics. And, you know, there was so much great music going on, but like I said, we're
Right.
spotlighting the one-hit wonders on this show.
Okay.
And we can do a whole year just on 78. Each week we'll do
forgot about it. It's good
1978. There's so many good albums. Wait till I get to the albums.
Okay.
But now let's get to the movies here. That the number one movie of the year, well, no, the Academy Award went to Deer Hunter, which was a
Wow.
great movie. Robert De
Yeah.
Niro,
Yes, I
all these
remember
guys
that.
about Vietnam. And, of course, Animal House came out in 78.
yes.
One of the funniest
Awesome.
movies of all time.
That's a classic.
And,
I
of
love
course,
that movie.
Jaws 2 came out,
Yeah.
which was not a classic. And
Oh, it's so good.
it was all right. Not
Yeah,
compared to
but
Jaws
no,
1 was
well,
great.
Yes.
Jaws 2 was all right. And then it got progressively
Oh, no.
worse.
Yeah.
Jaws
That-
3D.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that my
Yeah.
daughter was watching like Jaws 4 one time, and the
wouldn't
shark
even
is
let the
driving a
Jaws
helicopter at this point.
Right.
He followed him with the Bahamas. Remember that one? Yeah, that was
Exactly.
number
Oh
4.
my God. I
Followed
don't
him to
even
the
know what
Bahamas.
to Jaws for.
And of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
they had Halloween. The original Halloween
Yes.
movie
Oh,
came out
wow.
that year.
In 78?
Jamie Lee
Yeah.
Curtis.
That I
Yeah.
have. I have
Yeah.
that on VHS.
Every Which Way But Loose. You know who was
Oh,
in
yes.
that? Clint Eastwood
Clint
and an
Eastwood.
orangutan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the old lady was the best. You,
Yeah.
why get that
Exactly.
gorilla
I
off
remember
me?
that old
Yeah.
lady. I can't think of
She
her
was
name
great.
right now, man. My mind's going that I used to remember every single
Ruth?
thing. Ruth Gordon,
Something.
maybe?
Ruth Gordon, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there
it,
you
that's
go.
it.
All right, and Bello's favorite movie of 78, Bad News Bears Go to
Oh,
Japan.
yes.
I think Bello was actually in that
Ah.
because Bello looked like that
They
little
used to say
kid.
that. Tanner. Yeah. They used to call me that.
And of course, the movie that ended the Bee Gees and Peter Frampton's career, Sgt.
Sergeant
Pepper
Pepper.
remake, of course.
That was awful.
And
Billy
the-
Preston shooting people. That was
the
horrible.
number one movie, the moneymaker of 1978, thanks mostly in part to Cha-Cha and
Yeah.
her sister, was Grease.
All right. Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Come on.
Every weekend.
Grease is the word.
Yeah, so you must have been busy for like 3 years. You just every day you just went to the
Wow.
movies.
Yeah.
No, for most of your life, because by the time you stopped going to Grease, didn't Purple Rain come out? So then
Well,
you would just
no.
go in the movies.
To see Purple Rain.
Right. Well, yeah. I did for a year. Every night, me and my friend went to see Purple Rain.
Well, yeah. So
Grease.
77 you had Saturday Night Fever. 78 you had Grease,
Right, I
and then
only-
84 was Purple Rain. So in between there,
Yeah.
then you went to school, I guess.
I guess.
I guess.
Oh,
blur.
man.
Right. I did see Grease. We
Yeah.
used to go every weekend and just
Wow.
spend the whole day in
It's-
the movie theater.
yeah.
Yes,
just
those are the
amazing.
days where you just stay in the
Right.
theater.
Oh,
man.
yeah. Pay a dollar
My
and just
mom
stay
would
there all
give me and
day.
my sister cab money, and we
Wow.
would just go and
Wow.
stay there all day.
That's
Imagine
great.
that doing that
is
today.
great.
Wow.
How old were you?
I was
13.
13.
Oh, my
She was
goodness.
10.
That's
Oh, my
awesome.
goodness.
That's
Yeah.
how you learn every
Yeah,
word to
it's
every
like-
song. That is cool.
She was like, "Go, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you when it's
See when
night."
it's over.
Yeah.
Have you ever met anyone that did not like Grease? A girl of that particular age? I can't say that I have.
Can't
And
say
it doesn't
that I
matter.
have.
Like I say, no matter what age it is, any girl that, daughters now, little kids now, if they're introduced to it, they love it.
The
all
movie's
way up
timeless.
to-
So
It
my
Yeah.
daughter is watching it.
Yeah,
All-
exactly.
They're
Yeah,
my
14,
daughter
all her
watched
friends.
it
They love
like
it.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy.
my oldest sister loved it. So I don't think my mother did not like it though that I know
Wow.
of. Not that she didn't like it. It's just
probably
she was
didn't
never
see it.
exposed to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
My mother never saw it. It was
I
like-
remember seeing it
That was a
in the
different
theaters.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to make believe I didn't
Didn't
like
have
it, but
cameras.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I I was way too cool to
Yes.
like Grease
Way
in
too
'78.
cool.
Yes, you were.
A lot of hang-ups
Because we
back
were into
then.
punk rock in
Exactly.
'78. You could have liked
No way.
pop or disco.
I don't want to say nothing, but I remember going to the movie theater and I was sitting right behind Bello, and I remember seeing him there, and he was wiping a tear off from his eye. And he said, "I got something in my eye. I'm not crying."
We might never see each other again.
Who cries during Grease? What? There's no sad
Hopelessly
fuck-
devoted to
Oh,
you.
yeah, that's true.
You know,
That's
there's
true.
a lot of
That
sad parts,
song.
aren't there? So, what else was going on in you girls' lives that you would like to talk about
You
in '78?
girls.
Anything you want me
Besides
to?
John Travolta, 77, 78, he was the bomb. That was it.
Yeah. He
Cut
ruled
out of
the
10th
world.
grade to watch him walk down 86th Street.
Oh, really?
Oh, I did.
Wow.
It was filmed
It's
right in my
like the Pope.
neighborhood.
Wow.
Right there. Cut out of biology. I said, come on. We watched him walk. They, right down under the train tracks there.
Oh,
It was
nice.
amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
he
must've been
was
cool.
beautiful. He really was.
Right.
And then 78 was Grease. But like I said, that's when disco, especially in Brooklyn, that's where the movie was filmed in the club and all that. So me, my little rocker that I loved, my Led Zeppelin and Heart and all that, like I didn't fit in with the disco kids.
Oh yeah, growing up in Brooklyn, there
But-
must have been two.
And it was the disco kids in one
Right,
staircase at the
yeah.
and the black kids in another staircase. But I like to hang with them because I like the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson. Music was so crazy in '78
Yeah,
because a lot
absolutely.
of bands were kind of integrated,
Right. Sly and the Family Stone.
right? Trying to even the Doobie Brothers. Think about it.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Which doobie you be? Raj.
But then I remember going to see Blondie,
Yeah, that was good stuff.
right?
Yeah.
So didn't her music sound like disco?
Well, yeah, that's
was-
what I'm saying. When
yeah.
rock meant disco in '78,
That's true.
because you had the Stones doing "Miss You," you had Rod
Remember?
Stewart,
Right.
"Do You Think I'm Sexy?"
You think I'm sexy?
wow.
Heart of
Big-
Glass.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
What a crossover.
exactly,
Right.
and rap was just coming into its own as well.
Yep.
And it was just so much stuff going on. But I want to talk about this recent picture I saw of Gina from, I think it was early 80s or
80s.
whatever.
Oh,
and she had a rock T-shirt on. I couldn't make out what it was.
Now
but she
that
told
is
me, yeah.
that's where disco meets rock. So I'm going to tell you the story of Sally Boy Curto. Sally Boy was a big DJ on KTU. Paco,
Oh, really?
RuPaul, Paco, all these guys. He is the bomb. Okay, they had a big reunion Saturday night in Staten Island at Pastels.
Oh my God.
That was a big club in Bay Ridge where the Cousins went, all the cool guys. So if you notice in the pictures, Sal, I hope you're going to watch the show, had 2 gold chains on. It said #1, and it had the big gold chain with the Christ head. That
it
was
didn't
the
have
thing.
the horn.
So he's my
Oh, dude,
best
right
friend. He's actually my first boyfriend. We laugh all the time because he's like,
Nice.
couldn't you tell me you were gay then? But anyhow.
You should say he was the
is
reason.
such
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always tell him, and I go like this, you were the reason. So anyhow, he's my best friend. He's my brother. And so that picture, he would come to my mother's house, Sunday dinner. Our parents were friends. We grew up, near each other. And I met him on the baseball field. I wanted his baseball cards. I said, all right, you want to kiss me? I'll give me Mickey Mantle.
So good.
Yeah.
But he is the disco king. He's very well known, like in the club scene
Wow.
and amongst they have the legends of vinyl, the DJ dudes and all that. Very big in the club scene. But I was always in rock bands, so that T-shirt was Heart.
Yes.
That's an old Heart T-shirt.
And you mentioned that you had some of these shirts. You still have some of your concert
I do.
tees from
I
back
should have
then?
brought some of them,
Ah,
man.
She always says that, and she never ends
I
up
know,
bringing
I'm
anything.
bad.
Bello, you were supposed to go pick her up
I didn't
and
even-
go through her house.
Yeah, that's
Never
right.
heard
Make
this.
sure she has
Next
this
show.
stuff.
Next
Why
show.
doesn't he come on our show?
Sal, I'll bring him.
Sure,
Any
bring
night.
them.
Bring 'em.
Bring anybody you want.
All right, any night.
We'll write it down.
Because I
He'll
want
hog
know
the
what it
mic,
was
but I'll
like
bring
to
'em.
date
No, that's cool.
No, he's great.
Yeah. So yeah, that
My
and
best friend.
so
Best
this
friend.
brings me. You mentioned baseball, 1978,
Betty
the
Betty
Yankees.
Boop.
Oh, you were a Met fan,
Ah!
so you were out. But
Ooh.
the
Sal and I Met
Yankees,
fans.
the big
we
big
go.
comeback, and the Yankees won the World Series
Yes.
that year. So it was a
Yes, it
huge
was.
celebration
Yes,
in
it
New York
was.
going on as well.
That was also the year that Son of Sam was running around.
Well, he was
Actually got
actually sentenced that year to
Oh,
a long
right.
time. There was a lot of serial killers arrested that
crazy.
year.
Yeah.
Bundy was arrested that year. John Wayne Gacy was arrested that year.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
and he even escaped. Ted Bundy escaped, and they caught him again.
I think I remember
Yeah,
that.
so there's a lot of stuff.
Crazy.
Let's talk about some stuff going on. Of course, in New York City, because that's really the center of our world in 1978. So there's so much stuff going on. That's the year Sid killed Nancy at the Chelsea
Yes,
Hotel in New York City. The greatest love story ever told.
Yes,
Sid
delicious.
stabbed Nancy to
Arguably.
death. Yeah, and do you know that he ended up going to Rikers and he got bailed
Yeah.
out and he ended up ODing and dying. You know, he was only 21 years old.
Yeah, he was a baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't she?
She was,
19 or
the same
something?
thing. And, you know,
Yeah, like-
that it's just everyone, like, I have that book up there. It says, Please Kill Me. And it was interviews with all the punk stars of that
Oh,
day.
wow.
And every one of them hated Nancy.
Yeah,
This
Good
guy,
day.
Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys.
Yeah, I remember
I
Cheetah
actually
Chrome.
interviewed him. And he
Yeah.
said, oh, she was the most miserable person I've
Wow.
ever met in my
How
life.
could you be that miserable at 19, right?
Tortured him.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was something. And do you remember who the mayor of New York City was in 1978?
Koch?
May have
Koch.
Of course. No, it was Koch.
Who's
He
that?
just got elected, and he ended up
Oh.
going for 3 terms.
Yes,
at
he
that
did.
point.
He was
Yeah.
the most
Abza-
beloved
Oh,
mayor.
I was gonna question.
What?
That was part of my trivia question.
What?
I was gonna
hat?
remember if anyone remembered Bella Abzug.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, with her hat.
Yeah, she always
Oh,
had
hell
that,
yeah.
right. Oh, so she was before
She
Koch?
was never mayor.
Oh,
she was
she
like
not- oh,
No,
city
she
council.
was city
okay.
council.
She
All
ran
right.
for mayor, but she never won because of that hat.
My parents were
Koch.
really involved in the Democratic club
Wow.
of Brooklyn.
Did they get you to meet
But-
Bella Abzug?
Yes,
Oh,
my
nice.
mother did a
Nice.
lot of fundraising for
Oh, cool.
Ed Koch and Cuomo and Bella and all them.
And who was the governor of New York at that time as well? Hugh
Carey.
Carey.
Oh,
yeah.
I just went through his tunnel the other day. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I can't call
Yeah.
it the U Carry
Yeah,
tunnel, man.
no,
And I
not
was
calling
wondering
it
who
that.
he was, but I didn't. All right, now I know.
even though.
No, I don't
And of
even
course,
remember.
the president. Who knows who was president that year?
Oh, I know.
78?
Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Yes,
Jimmy.
of course. His interesting family with his brother
Yes.
Billy. A lot of stuff going on.
Yes,
there.
Billy
Yeah,
Beer
yeah,
and
yeah.
all. Yeah,
And
good
of course,
stuff.
as much as things
Crazy.
changed, they're still the same. Back in 1978, we had a creepy director fleeing the country after
Oh,
molesting a young
yes.
girl.
Roman
just like
Polanski.
Roman
Right.
Polanski, yep. And if Hollywood turned their back on him and shut it down right then, we wouldn't have had all these problems that we
Yeah,
have.
wow.
So it's Roman Polanski's fault.
And
You know
he's
who
back
he was
now.
married to?
Sharon
Sharon
Tate.
Tate.
Tate. It all comes full circle.
Ooh.
There you go.
Crazy world.
So yeah, let's start talking about the music before we start playing some more music. That listen to some of these albums that were released that year. Police, Outlandish D'Amour, The Cars' first album, Van Halen's first album,
Those
Blondie,
great
Talking
rock
Heads,
albums.
Elvis Costello, Devo, Queen, Bicycle Race, Jazz album came out.
That's the music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was tough. And, 78 is overlooked as a great year for music, but it had everything. Had Clash, Heart, Dog and Butterfly came
Yep.
out that year.
Yep.
Bruce Springsteen, Darkness on the Edge of Town.
That's right.
Ramones, Road to Ruin. Ramones are still all alive, and they're producing Sedated just came out that year.
Yep.
My heart.
Yeah,
We had
John.
Eddie
Great
Money,
stuff.
Linda Ronstadt, Leonard Skinner, Bob Seger, Wings, Journey, Foreigner. All these albums are coming out. And, of course, Copacabana by
Oh, yes.
Of course.
Barry
Yeah.
Manilow. Her name was Lola. And, of course, this song is actually Chuck Mangione. You guys remember that song?
Yes.
Feels So Good. It was an
course.
instrumental.
Right.
Sure.
And I just realized this
Trumpet.
because we talked about it once before. Did you know what instrument he played? He played the flugelhorn.
Flugelhorn?
Yes.
Is that
Is there a picture of him on an album cover
Yes,
with it?
holding that
Yes.
weird looking trumpet, right?
Yes.
But that's a flugelhorn, and we
Yes,
once
it
talked
is.
about it. We
I
said,
thought that
what
was
the
a
heck's
made-up
flugelhorn?
thing on,
Yeah, and now
on the
'cause-
Grinch? The Who's played a flugelhorn. One of the Who's in Whoville. Wow. That's a real thing, huh? That's awesome.
So, and of course, my choice for album of the year 1978 is not this one. It is Some Girls by the Rolling Stones.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
Awesome.
my choice right there. So let's talk about Nick Gilda now before we wrap up this show. Not much to talk about, so we'll get through this very quickly. But Nicholas Stephen Bello Gilda, I believe his name. Nicholas George Gilda. born December 1951. He was born in London, England, raised in Vancouver.
Yes.
Where exactly is Vancouver? Does anybody know? Is it actually in Canada or is it a different place? Because then it mentioned British Columbia. So I don't know where any of this is. Please
I'm not
write
good
in.
on the geography there.
Exactly.
Yeah, please let us know.
If it's not part of the 5 boroughs, then we don't know.
That's correct.
So
Rural New York is.
he began. Oh, this is something I did not know about Nick Gilda. He began his career as frontman for the band Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd,
It was a
yes.
glam rock band. You know these guys?
They
They actually had a #1 hit song in Canada called Roxy Rolla in 1975.
I know that
just remember
Brian
that.
Adams.
Yes,
wow.
and
Yeah,
Brian
that's what I
Adams
know about
was
Sweeney
briefly in this band when he was very young.
Very young.
Sweeney Todd.
15, 16.
No,
something
it
like
says he was 7 at the time. He played the flugelhorn. So
That's crazy.
So unfortunately, there was not that much drama going on, but this album here was his second solo album. It's called City Nights, and it came out in 1978. And of course, it was on the strength of Hot Child in the City, the #1 smash all over the world.
Yes.
It sold 10 trillion copies and went quintuplet platinum or something. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. Now. So anyway,
No, I'm lost.
here's something that you didn't know about him. He was a very good songwriter as well. He wrote songs for Bette Midler,
Yes.
Joe Cocker, Pat Benatar, and he wrote the #1 smash for Patti Smith, Smythe, and
Yes,
Scandal
he did.
called The Warrior.
Yes,
he
Remember
wrote
that
The
song?
Warrior?
He wrote The Warrior.
Bang,
Don't say, of
bang.
course.
Great
You did not
song.
know that, Carol Ann. Cha-cha. Did you know that?
So crazy.
Cha-cha, will you deny, confirm
Nick
or deny
Gilda.
that you
Okay,
knew
Well,
you know what?
after you said it, I remember.
After you, yeah.
It's like
that? After
oh,
you
yeah,
said it, I knew it.
No, after you said it, I remember.
So, well,
the
anyway,
memory.
the only drama that we had and controversy in his life is he killed 3 people
Oh, that's
in 1982 in
No.
homicidal rage. No, nothing.
No, come on.
I had to make up
wrong
something.
with you?
I had to make up something because there was no
No, you
drama. That's it.
didn't.
That's the
There's
end
no
of
drama.
his. That's the end of his
That's
whole
the
thing.
end of Nick.
But anyway, this album is actually good. I listened to it and it's got a lot of good stuff on it. It does sound like
Is that your
a
original?
strange woman. No. I
You
bought this one
picked it
from
up.
Jack's
Crazy.
recently.
Oh, okay.
That was the original 45 here.
Cool.
Mine.
So so if you're playing from home,
Marital property.
we haven't been smelling the albums lately, Stephen. You have not
That's
reminded me.
right.
It's Cha-Cha's job to remind me to smell
No.
the album,
It
which
was
she never
Little Nick.
does.
It was
So
Nick.
anyway, I'm taking it
Right.
upon myself. We're gonna smell
Give it
the
a
album
sniff.
now, and we're gonna talk about something. Oh, very good. Excellent,
Good
excellent.
smell.
So if you're playing from home, go get your album, and we're going to smell it now. And check out these 45s that I have.
Not bad.
Good stuff. Worth a lot of money, Stephen.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
I know.
yeah. So we're going to have to look at this album cover. That, like I said, he wears his pants like one of the guys in The Honeymoon is.
I was
They're
just
up to
gonna
his
say.
chest.
Yes.
And
he's
he's
a
got...
regular Fred Mertz.
Yeah, look
There
at
you
his
go.
legs.
Yeah,
My
that's-
God, look how long
That's
his legs are.
amazing.
His legs are 6
It's a
feet long.
supermodel.
So anyway, yes, it was good stuff. Big year, 1978. Did anything else I leave out happen in 1978? Oh,
I don't see how.
Jim Jones and his
Kool-Aid?
cult.
Wow.
Everyone drank the Kool-Aid in 78 and
Are you
killed
serious?
him.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that was 78.
Yes.
Oh, Susan B. Anthony coin was released that year.
I
And
still have them.
exactly. They minted 7 billion of them, and everyone hoarded them away
Yeah.
in their
Like a
closet.
number- like
Not
the-
one person ever spent a Susan B. Anthony
Right.
dollar.
That's true.
It's like the $2 bill. That's
Exactly.
gonna be worse up
Yeah.
someday.
Sacagaweas. Remember the
I
Sacagaweas?
do
Whoa.
have a $2 bill.
What's the Sacagawea?
It's, I don't know, some Indian
Yeah.
broad on a
Big on
coin.
Oh,
Some
really?
Gold, yeah, it's
I
worth
don't
a
remember
dollar.
those.
Yeah.
Sacagawea?
Yeah. So, all right. So that's it. Let me have my album back. We're going to wrap this up unless anyone else has anything else they need to talk about. Pressing 1978.
I think we're good. Covered it.
Oh, I got a good joke.
All right. Love jokes.
How can you tell how heavy a red hot chili pepper is?
How?
Give it away, give it away, give it away.
Ah,
That's not actually.
Get it?
stealing that
Get
one.
it?
Stealing
All
that
right.
one, Bella.
Yes,
Good
nice.
one.
There you go. Rock and roll joke.
Yes. Very good. All right, so we're going to wrap this show up
job.
now. 1978 year in review, spotlighting the one-hit wonders, including Nick Gilda, Hot Child in the City. So now we are going to play some more songs, wrap this show up. Let's see what we got here. What did I say I was going to play? This one's for Bello. It's Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue by Crystal Glagale.
Yeah.
The longest hair in rock and roll.
Did she ever cut her hair? Anyone know?
she now sells it at the Collingswood auction on Route 34 on Sunday mornings. And
Just said no.
we're also going to be playing. I don't know. Is she still alive? What is she?
Oh, move on.
No, I'm very interested in her now
sure she's
because
still alive.
imagine
Very
like
pretty.
an older woman. Yeah, she was beautiful.
Yeah, right.
But imagine
was
what
very pretty, I
what an
remember
older
that.
woman would look like with 17 feet hair.
Yes.
Not good.
Not
Yeah.
good.
Baby Come Back by who?
Player?
Playa. Very good, Bello.
It's a great song.
You can't challenge Bello when it comes to one-hit wonders, man. He'll name everything. And we're going to play the Artist of the Month. So thank you for joining us live from Dennis's house, part of the Madhouse Magazine Radio Hour. 474 The Mix. Let's hear it for us.
Woo!
Nice. Very good. Awesome.
See you next time.